Yo, what's going on YouTube? And in today's video, I'll be going over my 8.5 Ace meta competitive deck list. This is one of the best versions of this deck that I have created thus far. The only thing I'd probably say I'd add to it would be more 2Ks, but even then, I don't always feel like you need them. There are some matches where you do immediately, but also in those same exact matches, you can just push more aggressively for game. But without further ado, let me just go ahead and go over the list while we're here and while you guys are at it, because that's what you came for, right? So, as before, we are sticking with the blockers in the deck, and we added the Teach. 3 Teach is the new addition. Teach's effect is place 1 card from your hand at the top of your deck, attached to Dawn to one of your leaders, attach up to 2 rested Dawn to one of your leaders or characters. So this is pretty good in this deck because it allows you to set up for your leader ability, allowing you more consistency with leader ability. So you're able to put the bigs on the top of your deck and then use the littles to play those bigs out. We are also using this blocker here to facilitate that. It does the same thing as the larger ace blocker. It's just a smaller version of it. It allows you to draw 2, then return 2 cards from your hand to the top or bottom of your deck, allowing you for setup and placing a blocker. This larger ace blocker is the same thing, except you can get him out of life with your leader skill and a baby, which is super effective for you to be a 7K base with a 6K blocker. I mean, sounds a bit redundant because the blockers obviously we can do your leader, but excuse me. That's what the point of him being in there for, is just to be able to make your leader ability more consistent with your babies. While also playing the Rush Ace. Rush Ace really doesn't need any explanation. It's just Rush Ace, good pressure card. 4 guard for searching your little babies and the big brothers. You want to prioritize finding your babies more so than you do your brothers, because you can find brothers off of leader ability or off of drawing them. And if you have multiple babies in hand, then it doesn't matter which brother you hit off of the top of your deck. It just matters that you hit a brother. We're playing the 4 Luffy, obviously. We're playing the 2 Punch Luffy because he's pretty decent for consistency and the leader ability. And we're playing the 4 Rocket Luffy because it's really good for keeping problematic small creatures off of the board and also drawing you cards, while also being something you can set in life as a trap to be able to pop cards later on in the game. Playing 4 Hiyori as our only 2K counter. We're using Hiyori just to heal us for whenever we're down really, really low in life and we need to try and prolong staying in the game just a little bit. We'll use the Hiyori just to go ahead and heal one with leader ability, and then we can always bounce that Hiyori back to hand with Jozu. The idea thing to do with Jozu is to bounce your littles, such as your searchers and your Hiyoris, back to your hand, and even your 3-cost blockers, so that you can go ahead and replay those, reuse them, restack your deck, and just proceed from there. Also, him being a 7K body is super, super useful for making sure that you can keep problematic units off of the board, and he can take problematic units, pretty large problematic units off of your opponent's board as well, and make sure that you are leading the game by keeping your opponent's boards clear. We're playing the Flame Split or the Blaze Splice. We're playing this because it is a pretty good in-game card. You hold this in your hand until the absolute end of the game, and you just run over your opponent's blockers by resting them, giving one of your creatures an extra 1,000 boost, and just swing it in for the fences. This isn't really much explanatory. Let's just search. But to help you understand the deck as a whole and how you're trying to run it, you basically want to see your teach are these blockers. You want to see your teach are these blockers so that you can set up your top end and that you can use that to make your leader ability more consistent. So ideally, if you're turn 1 player going first, ideally playing a Garp is your best move. If you're turn 2 player and the deck prefers to go second, then your best move is to play this here Teach. The most ideal card combination that you could have in your turn 2 hand would be a Hiyori, Baby Ace, Large Ace, because if you're going second, your opponent just swung at you for first bit of damage, you'll be at 3 life. If you use this card combination, you'll be at 2 life. On your first turn swinging, you'll be able to do 2 7K swings. On your 6th on turn, you'll be able to play a Jozu to be able to bounce the Hiyori, or you'll be able to play a Big Mom to be able to take more cards from your opponent's hand. And the following turn, you can start doing a baby setup or leader skills to go ahead and make your leader 7K again for the following turn, applying a decent amount of pressure to your opponent and keeping a lot of cards out of their field. The third Gravity Blade, Raging Tiger, is really good for against the black yellow matchup, and it's also good against Bonnie. And again, with the Hiyori combination of Jozu, you're able to set trap cards in your life, so you can set this to your life if you need to. That's something your opponent can swing into to be able to remove a creature off of the board. You can do the same thing with your Rocket Luffy's and with your blade slices as an ability to just kind of sort of keep creatures from swinging at you on your opponent's turn. The Big Mom is really good in this deck because its ability it's 6 cost, and 6 cost is really clean in this deck because on 10 Dawn turns you're able to play a 6 cost body and then be able to use Leader Billy with the baby with the 4 Dawn that you'd have left over. So sixes fit really well in this deck and create a lot of pressure. And because I'm not running Red Rock, I chose to run the Jozu. Jozu is a body while Rare Rock may be able to remove anything from the board, Jozu just being a body and being present is just a little bit more oppressive to your opponent and provides you a little bit better tempo. And also his ability to push cards off of your opponent's field while also pushing cards back to your hand is super duper strong in this deck because you'll need it for applying more counter to your hand, or like I said, just getting small problematic creatures off of the board. 5 is a really weird number for this deck because the Luffy hits 4s, this hits 4s, and this hits 6 and lowers. So having this extra Jozu to hit those 6 or lowers, that random as spot of creatures that you can't hit, is really nice. Overall, the deck functions really well. It's very consistent. It's not often that you're not able to do exactly what you wanted to do. There's been times where I don't have ideal hands. I actually have pretty bad or base hands, and they still do pretty well. So, yeah, that's the video, guys, and that's the deck. And I hope you guys enjoy.